Happy Thanksgiving, Pixie!
Happy Thanksgiving! Happy Thanksgiving! Happy Thanksgiving!
Yep, happy Thanksgiving. You have a lot of energy.
Of course!
Well, that's great.
Have you met me?
I have met you. So, we haven't seen you on 3-ingredient recipes for a while.
Well, I've been keeping my brother company.
Oh, okay. Well, I have a recipe that I think will appeal to you, not only because it's for Thanksgiving, but also because it is about one of the subjects that you are most passionate about.
What?
Girl power.
Girl power!
Right. So this is a recipe that was invented by a woman for...
Go her!
Go her, a woman who scientifically decided to make a recipe that was easy for people to make.
Wow.
With stuff that they would always have on hand.
Like what?
We're going to find out on this special Thanksgiving edition of 3-ingredient recipes.
3-ingredient!
So our recipe this week is green bean casserole.
Green bean casserole?
Yep, we've had that for Thanksgiving. I think a lot of American households have had green bean casserole at
Green beans?
Yep, at their
Casserole.
Yep, at their Thanksgiving table. It is a dish that was invented in 1955.
The casserole dish or the recipe?
The recipe itself by a woman named Dorcas Reilly.
Dorcas?
Yep.
Dorcas or Riley?
No, just Dorcas Reilly. No O.
Oh.
That's okay.
Oh.
The O is in the Dorcas.
Not O'Reilly?
Nope.
So Dorcas.
Dorcas Reilly, and she headed the home she headed the home economics department at Campbell's Soup Company, and they were tasked with coming up with a recipe that not only used Campbell's soup, of course, but also was easy for people in the 1950s to make something with ingredients that they would have in their kitchens already.
So like green beans and Campbell's soup.
Green beans and Campbell's soup are the two, and then there is one other ingredient, which we will tell you in a moment.
Okay.
Now, people are reacting badly to green bean casserole these days. I don't know. I think it's because it's a little bit old-fashioned, because it's made with preserved ingredients. You use a couple of cans. Actually, you use 3 cans of stuff.
3 cans.
And I think that they just think that it's not all that exciting. It's a little bit too old-fashioned. It's very... I don't know. I really don't know.
So let's kick it up a notch.
Well, we could kick it up a notch, but I think that we can do the classic recipe, because I think the classic recipe is actually quite good.
Okay.
Yep, it has vegetables in it. It has a creamy sauce that's made with the Campbell's soup.
Okay.
And it has a crunch element to it.
Ooh.
So even though it's old-fashioned and even though it's made with preserved ingredients, I don't think it's all that bad.
Okay.
So our first ingredient in green bean casserole is, of course...
Green beans!
Green beans. Now you can use fresh, you can use frozen. The original recipe does call for canned green beans, and we are going to use...
We're using the can.
We are. We are going to make this as close to the original recipe as possible. We are omitting...
Only with 3 ingredients.
Only with 3 ingredients. So we are omitting one of the recipe's ingredients, which is milk. So these are French cut green beans. We're going to use one 14.5-ounce can.
14.5. That's awfully precise.
Well, that's what's in the can.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Our next ingredient is...
Soup.
Soup. We are going to be using...
What kind of soup is that?
Well, we're going to use cream of celery soup.
Celery.
The original recipe is cream of mushroom soup, but people use different cream soups. Mm-hmm. In the 70s, the Good Housekeeping decided that in their cookbook they would replace this with sour cream.
Sour cream?
Yeah, and I think that sour cream doesn't really add enough flavor to it. The cream soup actually has good flavor because it... Yeah, because it...
They're not the same.
No, they're not the same. So we're going to use one 10.5-ounce can of cream of celery soup, and this is of course Campbell's soup because it was invented by someone at the Campbell Soup Company.
Precise measurement.
It's easy to be precise when they come in cans.
Yeah.
And our final ingredient is a 6-ounce.
6 ounce. No decimals there.
6-ounce package of French's crispy fried onions.
Crispy fried onions.
Yep. So this is another ingredient that
How'd they get that all in a little box?
Well, they just put them right in the box, right at the factory. So this is a recipe that's made out of 3 ingredients that you can keep on hand at any time. You can make it directly out of the cabinet. It takes very little prep time. It's also one of those recipes that is good for kids to learn. So, yeah.
Let's see how you make it.
Okay, so let's see how to make it.
Okay.
This is a super simple recipe, which I think is part of its appeal. We're going to start off with 1 can of our cream soup. We're using a cream of celery here. I find that sometimes people object to mushrooms and things, and I think that the cream of celery really helps to accentuate the green beans more than cream of mushroom does. They're basically the same formula. It's just a cream soup. This is a condensed soup, so we are going to water it down a bit. Now, the classic recipe for this would now have you add in a cup of milk. Because we're keeping this to 3 ingredients, I'm actually going to thin this down with the liquid from my green beans. I actually do this most of the time when I'm making this for holidays and whatever, and I don't really thin it down all that much. If I add a little bit less than the recipe calls for in terms of milk, then everything holds together. I like it to be a little bit thicker and have a little bit more texture than the normal recipe. Now that this is thinned down a bit, I am going to just add in the green beans. I have drained the remainder of the water out of the can. I drained off the rest of the liquid that was in the can because I didn't want to thin this down any more than necessary. If you want to, you can add the whole can of liquid, or you can drain it completely and add in milk if you prefer that. Whatever you want. Some people actually will use chicken stock. Other people will use different kinds of soup. This is just a basic template for a type of recipe that uses vegetables, some sort of a cream base, and then some sort of a crunch or texture element. And this is just about as simple as can be. Now all I'm going to do is I'm going to fold in about half a package. This is a 6-ounce package of the crispy fried onions. Now, I tend to use a few more of the onions than the recipe calls for, just because my family really loves them, and they love them throughout the casserole itself and then also on top. The ones that are inside of the casserole itself are going to, of course, get soft because they are sitting in liquid and cooking, and the ones on top will add a bit of a crunch. Now I'm just going to transfer this to an oven-safe baking dish. And then the remainder of this package, or as much will fit on top as will fit on top, I'm just going to spread that out in an even layer right on top. And this will stay crispy on top, and the vegetables and the cream and the remaining onions will all kind of meld together on the bottom. This goes into a preheated 350-degree oven for about 25 to 30 minutes, or until everything is heated through. And you may see that the French fried onions on top will crisp up and turn a little brown on top. So what do you think? Yeah. Now, while some people may consider this a little bit on the dull side, maybe a little bit on the mild side.
Who are you kidding? It's great!
It is. It's great. This has green beans, which are a wonderful vegetable. It has a nice cream sauce, and it has the crispy fried onions, which I think is the best part of it.
Of course.
Yeah, they add a real...
Nice crunch.
They're nice and crunchy. They add a nice texture to it. So the next time...
So who doesn't like it?
I don't know. I think that people who really think that they are much better...
I know someone who doesn't like it.
Who doesn't like it? Oh, well, yeah, but he doesn't like things for different reasons. It's because of the textures, I think.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. So, the next time somebody turns their nose up at something classic like this, tell them that there's a lot of recipes that are very simple and made with preserved ingredients, and then hand them a Rice Krispie treat, which is also 3 ingredients and made with stuff that's shelf-stable.
Look at you.
Look at me. I'm going to be an advocate for Dorcas Reilly and for all of the home economics people in the 50s and 60s who came up with all of these recipes that are really easy to make and made with things that you would have in your kitchen.
A Dorcas for Dorcas. I meant it in the nicest way, though.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
Well, thanks for cooking a Thanksgiving classic with me.
You're welcome.
So are you going to have dinner with us and Peter and me and all the puppets in the family?
Can Pike come too?
Well, of course it wouldn't be Thanksgiving if you didn't have your brother.
Of course.
So just before we leave, what can people do to help us out with this channel?
They can subscribe.
They can subscribe. Subscribing allows you to know when we have a new recipe video or any other kind of video. We have a whole bunch of videos on this channel. Our recipe videos come out every Thursday. What else can they do?
They can comment.
Yep, if you leave a comment down below.
Leave your comments below, folks. box.
Yeah, leave a comment down below. And if you want to get into an argument over whether or not green bean casserole is good, that would be kind of fun.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow. We're getting controversial on
wow.
Thanksgiving. Just leave us a comment.
The most controversial the internet could ever be.
Yep.
Now.
Or you can also share. If you share this video with your friends and family and let them know that we make 3-ingredient recipes every Thursday, that's very helpful to our channel.
Yes.
Yes, so we are going to go and have a lovely Thanksgiving dinner. If you are in the US and you are celebrating Thanksgiving today, thanks for stopping by and watching our video. Otherwise, thanks so much for joining us while we made this recipe, and we will see you again next Thursday.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Happy Thanksgiving, Pixie!
Happy Thanksgiving!
The hair.
What?
The hair hits me in the face. Okay, one more time. Oh, dear.
Sheesh. Amateurs.
Well, it wouldn't be too bad, except your hair's a very, your hair feels just like artificial man-made materials.
I'm all natural.
Okay, careful. All right.